There is only one thing wrong with the European Union, and that is the word union. If you substitute the word empire, you will find much similarity in previous empires, like the Roman Empire, the Yugoslavian Empire, the USSR Empire, and the British Empire. The big difference is that the European Empire was not built the same way the other empires were. The British, or the English, or the Scottish, and the Welsh set out across the world to conquer and force people to live under the will of the empire builders. And of course it didn't last. You can't imprint one blueprint across all the many different people that you have in a community or an empire. No, the European Empire was not built like this. It was built after a terrible war, which most of us have now completely forgotten, apart from perhaps the odd serving soldier. But we have no idea what it's like to live in a war zone, unless you talk to refugees, of course, when you'll pretty soon find out that it's not a picnic. The European community was formed to build peace and prosperity, and that was its sole function. That was why France and West Germany got together in 1951, which happens to be 6 years after I was conceived, on VE Day, to form the European coal and steel industry, why Belgium, Netherlands and Luxembourg got together to form the Benelux community, and then more of us joined in to form a large bloc. A bloc also, by the way, that was big enough to be able to compete with the USA and the USSR. I don't think anybody thought about China, and nobody knew where it was. I know I didn't. We do now. The trouble is, of course, that empire builders never stand still. It must get bigger. It must impose our will on those in it. We must have a stronger parliament. We must have a central bank. We must have a single currency and a single defence force. No. The problem stems from the Maastricht Treaty, which back in the dark days of 1993 I read from cover to cover. And I used a highlighter to highlight all the good bits. And there were many of them. And I thought, well, this is a marvellous idea. How lovely it would be to live in a place like that. The trouble was that it is totally impractical. But it's why the European core is rushing ahead towards federalism, because that's what the treaty says. And I think we've had enough time now to realise that the aims of the treaty are unworkable and should stop. But at the same time, we must not forget the purpose of the European Economic Community and the successes that it has achieved, about which we know virtually nothing. It will take a good advertising man to sit down and go through what the European Economic Community has achieved for its members over the last 70 years and communicate that to people, for heaven's sake. So my message is very clear. The Maastricht Treaty must be abandoned. The central core of bureaucracy that it has created must be disbanded. But we must never undo the economic European community aspect of our founding fathers. And the only way to do that, in my opinion, is to vote Liberal Democrats, who are the only party who have clearly stated that they wish to remain, and who will, when they come to power, fight for improvements in the way in which Brussels runs the community. Next month I'm going to Portugal, where I shall shoot another rant on Brexit from their perspective. Thank you for watching.